Hi, my name is Jason and welcome to the very first installment of the video Encyclopedia, 7 Steps to a Booming Personal Training Business. If you're a personal trainer, just like me, then I'm sure you're always on the lookout for new exciting tools and resources to help you exponentially grow your PT business. As you're sat there, I'd love to take this opportunity to share with you my personal journey. So I've been a personal trainer for a little over a decade now, and when I first became qualified I had this magnificent obsession. I purely and simply wanted to be the busiest personal trainer in WA. Oh, by the way, I worked out at the beginning of this year that I've actually done around 25,000 PT sessions and around 3,000 free consultations. That's a lot of sweaty bodies, right? So anyway, when I first became qualified, I had this magnificent obsession. And within just 9 months of becoming a personal trainer, I built my personal training business to 75 showed PT sessions a week, 30-minute sessions charging $50 per session. So here I was, 21-year-old, making 150k a year. Anyway, so at that time I decided, you know what, I realised that I'm actually training people that have been training longer than I've been alive. So I thought it was a good idea to put my head down, become a sponge, and so I attended hundreds of seminars, hundreds of courses, read hundreds of books, and continued to do 65 plus showed sessions each week, week in, week out. So 5 years down the track, I was approached by the company I was working with to become the personal training coordinator. So I decided to take on board this role, and when I did, they were second bottom in the country out of 33 clubs. And I took on board the role, hired some trainers, I fired some trainers, and I implemented some new systems. And within just 12 weeks, took them to #1 in the country, PT revenue and PT team-wise. Which is pretty cool, because it let me know that even though I could successfully grow my own PT business and client base, I could also duplicate my success and help other personal trainers to achieve success as well. Around that time I also started a health and wellness company, and we had massage therapists working for us, we had an online supplement superstore, we sold packages online for weight loss and muscle gain, we introduced the first ever CEC recognised PT business course in Australia. We did seminars for the general public on health and fitness and nutrition and weights training. We ran a very successful group training business, and we had up to 100 people going through the business each week, charging up to $40 per hour per person. Also around that time, I came across something called Neuro-Linguistic Programming, NLP. Some of you may have heard of it, maybe Tony Robbins. Anyway, I became very fascinated by NLP, and I did my practitioner, my master practitioner, and my PhD level, which is my trainer's training in NLP. And I used to teach practitioner courses in Neuro-Linguistic Programming as well. I also travel and did a lot of motivational speaking, and I actually got people come up on stage and do fire eating and all that kind of crazy fun stuff, which was pretty cool, but it wasn't really always drawn back to personal training and health and fitness. Around about 18 months ago, I was contacted by Good Life Health Clubs to set up the first club here in WA and put together a personal training team. So I did that. I put together 8 personal trainers, and within just 8 weeks of opening that club, took them to #1 in the country out of 34 clubs, and we more than doubled the next highest club's PT revenue. I remember one day selling 26 PT packages in just one day. Within 6 months, built that to a team of 13 personal trainers, which I had under me, and after 6 months I left there, including my brother works there, and he does 80 sessions a week, has another trainer who has another 40 sessions, has 120 sessions going through his business each week, earning almost 200k. Pretty impressive, right? Then I left there beginning of last year. In the beginning of last year, I was contacted by the Australian Institute of Personal Trainers, and up until about 6 weeks ago, I was a Perth campus director for AAPT, and we taught Cert 3 and 4 courses in personal training as well. The biggest thing for myself though was about 7 months ago. I'm not sure if you ever read, but for me, I'm an avid reader, and I was reading a book called The Power of Now. And I don't know if you've ever read a book and you've had this aha moment, you've had this thought or this idea that, wow, this is a great idea. Anyway, I was reading a book called The Power of Now, and I thought to myself, you know what, there's over 20,000 registered personal trainers in Australia. And out of those 20,000 personal trainers, how many do you think are struggling, want more clients, want more business, or are in a transition phase? Most of them, right? So I thought to myself, there's a few people, there's not really anyone in this country really making a massive impact to help people one-on-one, or personal trainers one-on-one, to build their business. So within three days, I had my first client, my first coaching client. And now we just recently moved into an office. We're full-time in January, and we have dozens of clients all over Australia and New Zealand at all different levels. We have personal trainers who work at Good Life and Fitness First, we have mobile outdoor trainers, and we also have studio owners, even health club owners now as well. So we actually, now I'm the CEO of Your PT Australia, and in this company we have 3 departments. So I'm actually the Australasian Managing Director for Your PT Coach. We also have Your PT Web, where we design fully operational websites with complete content management systems. So that way when you have your website, you don't have to rely on an IT specialist, you can do that yourself. We're also launching Your PT Expert, which is the fastest growing personal training business and group training business in WA. So they're the 3 departments we run now. Back in 1957, there was a monastery in Thailand, and what they were doing is they were developing a new highway. The problem with that is, in the middle of where they wanted to build this highway was there was a monastery. And right bang smack in the middle of that monastery was this massive 10.5 foot, 2.5 ton clay Buddha. So anyway, they had a head monk there who was in charge of removing the clay Buddha. So they obviously organised a massive crane and they started lifting it up. And as they went to lift it up, what happened is it started to rain. So obviously, being a clay Buddha, they didn't want to breach the integrity of the clay Buddha. So the head monk decided to put it back down and cover it with some tarp and get back into it next day. Anyway, during the night, the head Buddha decided to come out and check on the Buddha and make sure it was okay. And he lifted up the tarp and he shined in his torch. And when he shined in his torch, he saw a gleam of light coming straight back at him. So he became very fascinated by what that light was. So anyway, he went off and he came back with a chisel and a hammer. Lifted up the tarp, went in, got the chisel, started to hammer away. And it was chiseling, 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 and cracking in deeper and deeper and deeper. And just as he thought he was getting it below the clay, there was more clay. It's kind of, as personal trainers, we understand that all elements of personal training fall into 3 categories. I like to call this the 3 pillars to personal training. The first pillar is the technical pillar. This is where we learn our technical skills, which we learn through our Cert 3 and 4 courses. The second pillar is the psychological pillar. This is a pillar that we understand how, life coaching, neurolinguistic programming, hypnosis, understanding how the mind works and the psychology behind our behaviour.